Welcome, dear listeners, to another peaceful evening together. Thank you for joining me once again on this gentle journey into rest and relaxation. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel and ringing that notification bell so you never miss our soothing bedtime stories. Tonight's story has been carefully crafted to guide you into a state of deep relaxation and peaceful sleep. We'll be traveling together to a quiet mountain village, where we'll spend time with Luna, a young woman who has discovered the most wonderful way to end each day by connecting with the infinite beauty of the night sky. So please make yourself comfortable. Adjust your pillows, pull your blanket up to your chin, and let your body sink deeply into your bed. Close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and let yourself drift away with me to a place where time moves slowly, where the stars shine brightly, and where peace fills every moment. Our story begins now. High in the mountains, where the air is thin and crystal clear, there sits a small village called Starlit. The village is so small that if you walked from one end to the other, it would take you only 15 minutes. Even if you stop to admire every cottage garden along the way. The houses are made of warm, honey-colored stone, and each one has a small garden filled with lavender, rosemary, and night-blooming jasmine. In the very last house on the very last street, there lives a young woman named Luna. Luna has long, dark hair that she often wears in a loose braid down her back, and eyes the color of deep twilight, that magical shade of blue that appears just after sunset, when day slowly transforms into night. She is 27 years old, and she has lived in this house for her entire life. The house itself is quite special. It belonged to Luna's grandfather, who was an astronomer. When he passed away 3 years ago, he left Luna not only his house, but also his most precious possession, an old telescope that sits permanently on the flat roof of the house. The telescope is made of brass that has turned a beautiful green color with age, and it stands on 3 sturdy wooden legs that Luna's grandfather carved himself from oak trees that grew in the village. Every evening, as the sun begins its slow descent behind the western mountains, Luna begins her peaceful ritual. She moves through her small house with quiet, deliberate steps, preparing for her nightly journey among the stars. The house is filled with the gentle sounds of her preparations, the soft whisper of her slippers against the wooden floors, the quiet clink of a teacup against a saucer, the gentle rustle of her warm woolen shawl as she drapes it around her shoulders. Luna's kitchen is small and cozy, with copper pots hanging from hooks on the walls and dried herbs bundled together and hanging from the ceiling beams. She keeps her favorite teacup on a shelf by the window. It's made of thin porcelain painted with tiny golden stars, another gift from her grandfather. Every evening, she fills her copper kettle with fresh water from the well behind her house and sets it on the stove to boil. While the water heats, Luna moves to her bedroom and changes into her nighttime clothes, soft cotton pajamas in deep navy blue, thick woolen socks, and a heavy cardigan that reaches almost to her knees. The cardigan was knitted by her grandmother many years ago, and it's the color of midnight sky, with tiny silver buttons that catch the light like distant stars. When the kettle begins to whistle, a soft, musical sound that never startles but simply announces that the water is ready, Luna returns to the kitchen. She opens a small tin that sits on the counter and scoops out a spoonful of her special nighttime tea blend. The tea is a mixture of chamomile, lavender, and a tiny bit of mint that she grows in her garden. The herbs fill the air with their gentle, soothing fragrance as the hot water pours over them. Luna lets the tea steep for exactly 5 minutes. She has learned that this is the perfect amount of time for the flavors to blend together without becoming bitter. While she waits, she stands by her kitchen window and looks out at her small garden. In the fading light, she can see the silhouettes of her plants, the tall stalks of her sunflowers, now heavy with seeds, the bushy lavender plants that release their perfume into the evening air, and the climbing roses that have grown up the side of her house and now frame her bedroom window. As the light continues to fade, the first stars begin to appear in the sky above. They start as tiny pinpricks of light, so faint that Luna has to look carefully to see them. But she knows that in just a little while, when full darkness settles over the village, the sky will be filled with thousands and thousands of stars, each one shining with its own special light. When her tea is ready, Luna carries her cup carefully up the narrow wooden stairs that lead to the roof of her house. The stairs creak softly under her feet. It's a friendly, familiar sound that she has heard every night for 3 years, and before that, every night when she would visit her grandfather and help him with his observations. The roof of Luna's house is flat and covered with smooth wooden planks that her grandfather sanded and sealed to protect them from rain and snow. In the center of the roof stands the telescope, pointing up toward the sky like a faithful friend waiting for her arrival. Next to the telescope, Luna has placed a comfortable chair, an old wooden rocking chair with thick cushions covered in soft fabric the color of deep forest green. Luna settles into her chair and places her teacup on the small table that sits beside it. The table also holds her grandfather's observation journal, a thick book bound in dark leather and filled with hundreds of pages of notes and sketches about the stars. Next to the journal sits a red flashlight covered with red cellophane, which Luna uses when she needs to read or write, because red light doesn't affect her night vision the way white light would. As Luna rocks gently in her chair, she takes small sips of her warm tea and feels her body beginning to relax. The day's small worries and concerns seem to melt away as she breathes in the cool mountain air. The air at this altitude is incredibly clean and fresh, with no pollution from cities or factories to dim the light of the stars. Luna can taste the crispness of it as she breathes, and she can smell the wild herbs that grow on the mountainsides, thyme and sage and pine. The village below is quiet now. Most of her neighbors have finished their dinners and are settling in for the evening. A few windows glow with warm yellow light, and occasionally Luna can hear the distant sound of a dog barking or a child laughing. But these sounds are soft and far away, like echoes from another world. As the sky grows darker, more and more stars become visible. Luna knows this process well. It's like watching a slow, magical transformation. First come the brightest stars, the ones that can shine through even the last traces of daylight. Then, as her eyes adjust to the darkness and the sky becomes truly black, fainter stars begin to appear, and then fainter ones still, until the entire sky is filled with countless points of light. Luna reaches over and gently adjusts the telescope, pointing it toward the eastern horizon, where she knows her favorite constellation will soon appear. The telescope moves smoothly and silently. Her grandfather took excellent care of it, and Luna has continued his careful maintenance routine, cleaning the lenses and oiling the mechanical parts every few weeks. While she waits for her target stars to rise above the mountains, Luna continues to rock slowly in her chair and sip her tea. The rocking motion is gentle and rhythmic, like being rocked in a cradle, and it helps her feel even more peaceful and relaxed. The tea warms her from the inside, and she can feel its calming herbs beginning to work their gentle magic on her mind and body. The first constellation to appear above the eastern mountains is Ursa Major, the Great Bear, which contains the familiar pattern that many people call the Big Dipper. Luna smiles as she sees it rising slowly above the jagged silhouette of the mountain peaks. This constellation holds special memories for her, because it was the first one her grandfather ever showed her when she was just 7 years old. She remembers that night clearly. She had been staying at her grandfather's house for the summer, and she had woken up in the middle of the night because of a thunderstorm. Her grandfather had found her standing by the window, watching the lightning flash across the sky, and instead of sending her back to bed, he had made her a cup of warm milk and brought her up to the roof. "Luna," he had said in his gentle voice, "there's something I want to show you, but first we have to wait for the storm to pass." They had sat together in the darkness, listening to the rain pattering on the roof and watching the lightning dance among the clouds. When the storm finally moved away to the east, her grandfather had uncovered his telescope and pointed it toward the sky. "Do you see those 7 bright stars there?" he had asked, pointing toward a group of stars that looked like a ladle made of light. "That's part of a constellation called the Great Bear. People have been looking at those stars and telling stories about them for thousands and thousands of years." Young Luna had pressed her eye to the telescope eyepiece, and the stars had seemed to jump closer, becoming bright and clear and beautiful. Her grandfather had told her the story of the Great Bear who lived among the stars, and how Native American tribes believed that the 3 stars in the handle of the Dipper were actually 3 hunters chasing the bear across the sky. "Every night," her grandfather had explained, "the bear and the hunters circle around the North Star, and they never catch each other, and they never stop chasing. It's a dance that goes on forever and ever." Now, 20 years later, Luna still feels a thrill of wonder every time she sees Ursa Major appear above the mountains. She adjusts her telescope and points it toward the constellation, then settles her eye against the eyepiece. Through the telescope, the stars of the Big Dipper appear bright and clear, each one a perfect point of light against the velvety darkness of space. Luna knows that these stars are actually enormous suns, much bigger than our own sun, and incredibly far away. The light she is seeing left those stars years and years ago, traveling across the vast emptiness of space at the speed of light. In a sense, when she looks at the stars, she is looking backward in time, seeing the stars not as they are now, but as they were in the past. This thought fills Luna with a sense of profound connection to the universe. She is not just a young woman sitting on a rooftop in a small mountain village. She is part of something much larger and more magnificent. She is connected to the stars, to the vast cosmos, to the ancient light that has traveled across space just to reach her eyes at this exact moment. As Luna continues to observe Ursa Major through her telescope, she notices other stars beginning to appear around it. To the north, she can see Ursa Minor, the little bear, which contains the North Star. The North Star, also called Polaris, sits almost directly above the Earth's North Pole, which means it appears to stay in the same place in the sky while all the other stars rotate around it. Luna adjusts her telescope to focus on Polaris. Through the eyepiece, it appears as a steady, bright point of light, unwavering and constant. For thousands of years, travelers and navigators have used this star to find their way, because it always points toward true north. Luna finds something deeply comforting about the North Star's steadiness. It's like having a faithful friend in the sky, always there when you need it. After spending several minutes observing Polaris, Luna slowly moves her telescope toward the west, where another of her favorite constellations is now visible. Cassiopeia appears as a distinctive W-shaped pattern of 5 bright stars. According to Greek mythology, Cassiopeia was a queen who was so vain about her beauty that she boasted she was more beautiful than the sea nymphs. As punishment for her vanity, she was placed in the sky, condemned to circle around the North Star forever. Luna finds Cassiopeia through her telescope and studies each of the 5 stars that make up the W pattern. The stars have beautiful names: Shadir, Kaf, Gamma Cassiopeiae, Ruchba, and Sejin. Luna has memorized these names, along with the names of hundreds of other stars, and she enjoys saying them quietly to herself as she observes. There's something almost musical about star names. They come from Arabic, Greek, and Latin, and they roll off the tongue like poetry. As she observes Cassiopeia, Luna takes another sip of her tea and continues to rock slowly in her chair. The night air is becoming cooler, and she pulls her cardigan more tightly around herself. The coolness feels good against her skin, clean and refreshing, and it helps keep her alert and focused as she continues her observations. From somewhere far below in the village, Luna can hear the soft sound of a church bell chiming 10 o'clock. The sound drifts up through the still air, gentle and melodious, marking the passage of time. But up here among the stars, time seems to move differently. Minutes stretch into hours, and hours feel like minutes. Luna loses herself in the peaceful rhythm of observation and contemplation. Moving her telescope toward the south, Luna searches for another of her favorite constellations, Cygnus, the Swan. Cygnus is a large constellation that looks like a great bird flying across the sky, its wings outstretched and its long neck extended. The brightest star in Cygnus is called Deneb, and it marks the tail of the swan. When Luna finds Deneb through her telescope, she pauses to contemplate this remarkable star. Deneb is one of the most distant stars visible to the naked eye, located about 2,600 light-years from Earth. This means that the light Luna is seeing left Deneb around 600 BC, when the ancient Greeks were just beginning to develop their philosophy and mathematics. The light has been traveling through space for over 2,000 years, just to reach Luna's eyes at this moment. Luna finds this thought both humbling and inspiring. She is seeing ancient light that began its journey when people lived in a completely different world, without electricity or cars or telephones or any of the modern conveniences that fill her life. Yet the stars remain the same, shining with the same light, following the same patterns, providing the same sense of wonder and connection that humans have felt for countless generations. As she continues to observe Cygnus, Luna notices the faint, cloudy band of the Milky Way stretching across the sky behind the constellation. The Milky Way is actually our own galaxy seen from the inside billions and billions of stars so far away that they blur together into a soft, glowing river of light. Luna knows that our sun is just one ordinary star among all those billions, located about halfway out from the center of the galaxy in what astronomers call a spiral arm. The Milky Way is particularly beautiful tonight, standing out clearly against the dark sky. Luna can trace its path from the southern horizon, up through Cygnus, and continuing on toward the north. In some places it appears bright and well-defined, while in other areas it seems to fade into the background darkness. The darker areas are caused by clouds of dust that block the light from more distant stars, creating patterns and shapes that look almost like the negative image of a photograph. Luna leans back in her rocking chair and looks up at the Milky Way with just her eyes, not using the telescope. Sometimes it's better to take in the whole magnificent sweep of the galaxy rather than focusing on individual stars. The Milky Way stretches across the entire sky like a bridge of light, connecting one horizon to the other, and Luna feels as if she could follow it like a path leading to other worlds. The silence around Luna is profound and complete. The village below has settled into sleep, and even the night sounds of the mountains, the occasional hoot of an owl or the rustle of small animals in the underbrush, seem muted and far away. The only sound Luna can hear is the gentle creaking of her rocking chair and her own slow, peaceful breathing. As she sits in this perfect quiet, Luna becomes aware of her heartbeat, steady and calm in her chest. Her breathing has slowed and deepened, matching the peaceful rhythm of her observations. She feels completely relaxed, as if all the tension and stress of daily life has simply melted away under the influence of the starlight. Luna reaches for her grandfather's journal and opens it to a fresh page. Using her red flashlight, she makes a few quick notes about the night's observations, the clarity of the sky, the positions of the constellations, any unusual brightness or dimness in particular stars. She has continued her grandfather's tradition of keeping detailed records, and now the journal contains 3 years of her own observations in addition to all of her grandfather's notes from decades of stargazing. Writing in the journal makes Luna feel connected not only to her grandfather's memory, but also to the long tradition of amateur astronomers who have spent countless nights observing and recording the movements of the celestial objects. She knows that somewhere else in the world, other people are doing exactly what she is doing, sitting quietly under the stars, watching and learning and feeling that same sense of wonder that humans have felt since the beginning of time. After making her notes, Luna closes the journal and turns off the red flashlight. She leans back in her chair again and lets her eyes readjust to the darkness. As her night vision returns, even more stars become visible, including some so faint that she can only see them when she's not looking directly at them, a technique astronomers call averted vision. The air temperature continues to drop as the night progresses, and Luna can see her breath forming small clouds of vapor that quickly disappear in the dry mountain air. She takes another sip of her tea, which is still warm but not hot, and savors the gentle blend of flavors. The chamomile and lavender are working their peaceful magic, making her feel drowsy and content. Luna decides to spend a few more minutes observing one more constellation before ending her nightly session. She turns her telescope toward the northeast, where the constellation Perseus is now rising above the mountains. Perseus is named after the Greek hero who rescued the Princess Andromeda from a sea monster, and it contains several interesting stars and deep sky objects. The most famous star in Perseus is called Algol, also known as the Demon Star. Algol is what astronomers call an eclipsing binary star. It's actually 2 stars orbiting around each other, and every few days one star passes in front of the other, causing the star system to appear dimmer from Earth. Ancient astronomers noticed this regular dimming and brightening, and because they couldn't explain it, they thought the star was possessed by demons. Luna finds Algol through her telescope and observes it for several minutes. Tonight it appears to be at normal brightness, but she knows that in a day or two it will begin to dim as the companion star moves in front of it. She has observed this cycle many times over the past 3 years, and she always finds it fascinating to watch this cosmic dance taking place millions of miles away in space. As she observes Perseus, Luna becomes aware that her eyelids are beginning to feel heavy. The combination of the cool night air, the warm tea, the gentle motion of the rocking chair, and the peaceful influence of the starlight is making her feel wonderfully sleepy. But it's a different kind of sleepiness than she feels after a busy day. This is a deep, peaceful drowsiness that seems to come from somewhere deep inside her soul. Luna takes one last look through the telescope at the stars of Perseus, then slowly and carefully covers the telescope with its protective cloth. She has learned to be very gentle with the instrument, treating it with the same care and respect that her grandfather showed it. The telescope will wait here patiently until tomorrow night, when she will return for another session of stargazing and wonder. Gathering up her empty teacup and her grandfather's journal, Luna rises from her rocking chair and takes one final look around at the night sky. The stars seem to twinkle a gentle farewell to her, and the Milky Way continues its slow, majestic arc across the heavens. A gentle breeze stirs the air, carrying with it the scent of pine trees and mountain herbs. Luna makes her way carefully down the wooden stairs to the inside of her house. Her movements are slow and deliberate, matching her peaceful, drowsy state of mind. She places her teacup in the kitchen sink and sets the journal on the counter, then moves through her small house, turning off the few lights she had left on earlier. In her bedroom, Luna changes out of her warm outer clothes and into her soft cotton pajamas. She brushes her long dark hair and braids it loosely for the night, then settles into her bed. The sheets are cool and smooth against her skin, and her pillow is soft and perfectly shaped to cradle her head. As Luna lies in her bed, she can see stars through her bedroom window. The climbing roses that grow outside frame the window, and their leaves cast gentle shadows on the glass. Through the gaps between the leaves, several bright stars are visible, including Vega, one of the brightest stars in the northern sky. Luna watches Vega as she lies in bed, and she thinks about all the things she observed tonight: the steady light of Polaris, the distinctive W shape of Cassiopeia, the graceful form of Cygnus the Swan, and the mysterious eclipsing binary star Algol. Each star has its own story, its own place in the vast cosmos, and its own role to play in the endless dance of the universe. As her breathing becomes even slower and deeper, Luna feels herself beginning to drift away into sleep. But even as consciousness fades, she remains aware of the stars shining outside her window, their ancient light standing guard over her dreams. She knows that when she wakes in the morning, the stars will have continued their slow journey across the sky, and tomorrow night they will return to dance once again in the darkness above her mountain village. The stars shine on through the night, constant and eternal, while Luna sleeps peacefully below. Her dreams are filled with gentle images of starlight and constellation patterns, of telescopes and ancient myths, of the vast Milky Way stretching across an infinite sky. She sleeps the deep, restful sleep of someone who is connected with something larger than herself, someone who has touched the eternal mystery of the cosmos. Throughout the night, the stars continue their ancient dance. Ursa Major circles slowly around Polaris. The North Star stands steady and unchanging. Cassiopeia traces her eternal W across the northern sky, and Cygnus the swan flies endlessly through the river of the Milky Way. The universe continues its vast, slow dance, indifferent to human concerns, but somehow comforting in its permanence and predictability. As the hours pass, other constellations rise in the east. Orion the Hunter, with his distinctive belt of 3 bright stars, Gemini the Twins, Cancer the Crab, and Leo the Lion. Each constellation brings its own stories and legends, its own mysteries and wonders. The sky is like a great book written in light, and those who know how to read it can find endless sources of fascination and joy. The night air grows colder as dawn approaches, but Luna sleeps warmly in her bed, wrapped in her soft blankets and her peaceful dreams. The stars that kept her company during her nightly observations continue to shine down on her, their light bridging the vast distances between her small mountain village and the farthest reaches of the galaxy. In her dreams, Luna finds herself floating among the stars, drifting slowly through space like a peaceful traveler on a cosmic ocean. She passes by glowing nebulae where new stars are being born, ancient star clusters that have existed since the universe was young, and distant galaxies spinning slowly in the darkness. Everything is quiet and beautiful and filled with a sense of infinite peace. As Luna drifts through her stellar dreamscape, she encounters other dreamers, people from around the world who share her love of the night sky. There are astronomers with powerful telescopes, children seeing the stars for the first time, navigators using the stars to find their way across vast oceans, and poets finding inspiration in the beauty of the cosmos. All of them are connected by their wonder at the universe, all part of the same human story of curiosity and exploration and awe. The dream continues as Luna visits each of her favorite constellations, not as distant points of light, but as vast three-dimensional structures spread across space. She sees Polaris as an enormous yellow giant star, hundreds of times brighter than our sun, with planets orbiting around it that might harbor their own forms of life. She visits the stars of Cassiopeia, each one a unique world with its own characteristics and history. In the constellation Cygnus, Luna's dream self pauses at the star Deneb, that distant beacon whose light has traveled for thousands of years to reach Earth. She imagines what Earth looked like when that light first began its journey, a world of ancient civilizations and untouched wilderness, where humans were just beginning to develop the knowledge and tools that would eventually allow them to understand their place in the cosmos. As Luna continues to dream, she becomes aware of the slow passage of time on a cosmic scale. She sees stars being born in great clouds of gas and dust, living their lives over millions and billions of years, and finally dying in spectacular explosions that scatter their material across space to form new stars and planets. She witnesses the slow dance of galaxies, gravitationally bound groups of billions of stars that wheel through space over periods of time too long for human minds to fully comprehend. Yet even on this vast cosmic scale, Luna feels a sense of belonging and connection. The atoms in her body were forged in the nuclear furnaces of ancient stars that lived and died long before our solar system was born. She is literally made of star stuff, her very existence a testament to the creative power of the universe. This thought fills her with a profound sense of peace and acceptance. The dream begins to fade as the first hints of dawn approach the eastern horizon. In the real world outside Luna's window, the sky is beginning to show the faintest trace of gray, the first sign that the night is slowly giving way to day. The brightest stars continue to shine, but the fainter ones are beginning to fade into the growing light. But Luna sleeps on, undisturbed by the approaching dawn. Her breathing remains slow and steady, her face peaceful and relaxed. The night's observations have filled her with a deep sense of contentment and connection, and her dreams continue to carry her through gentle landscapes of starlight and wonder. As the sun rises behind the eastern mountains, painting the sky with soft colors of pink and gold, the last of the stars fade from view. But Luna knows they are still there, still shining, still dancing their eternal dance. They are simply hidden by the brightness of day, waiting patiently for the sun to set, so they can once again share their light with anyone who takes the time to look up and wonder. The village of Stellaris begins to wake up as the sun climbs higher in the sky. Luna can hear the distant sounds of her neighbors beginning their daily routines. The crow of a rooster, the clank of a well pump, the gentle lowing of cattle in the pastures below. But these sounds seem far away and unimportant compared to the cosmic peace that fills her dreams. Luna continues to sleep peacefully as the morning progresses, her body and mind recovering from the night's gentle observations. When she finally wakes, hours later, she will carry with her the memory of the stars and the deep sense of connection she feels to the universe. She will go about her daily tasks with a quiet joy, knowing that when evening comes again, the stars will be waiting for her return. And so the cycle continues night after night, season after season, year after year. Luna maintains her peaceful ritual of stargazing, always finding new wonders to observe and contemplate. The stars provide her with a sense of continuity and permanence in a world that often seems chaotic and uncertain. They remind her that she is part of something much larger and more magnificent than her daily concerns and worries. Sometimes Luna is joined in her observations by friends from the village who share her interest in astronomy. Together they explore the night sky, sharing their knowledge and their sense of wonder. But more often, she observes alone, finding in the solitude a deeper connection to the cosmos and to herself. The seasons change, and with them the constellations visible in the night sky. In summer, Luna enjoys observing the bright stars of the summer triangle Vega, Altair, and Deneb, and the rich star fields of Sagittarius and Scorpius that lie in the direction of the center of our galaxy. In winter, she marvels at the magnificent constellation Orion and the brilliant star Sirius, the brightest star in the entire night sky. Each season brings its own celestial events and phenomena. Luna looks forward to the annual meteor showers, when the Earth passes through streams of cosmic debris left behind by comets, creating spectacular displays of shooting stars that streak across the sky. She also watches for the occasional appearance of bright comets, those mysterious visitors from the outer reaches of the solar system that develop beautiful glowing tails as they approach the sun. Throughout all of these observations, Luna maintains the same peaceful, meditative approach that has served her so well. She never hurries, never feels impatient, never tries to see everything at once. Instead, she allows each night's observations to unfold naturally, following her intuition and her curiosity wherever they may lead. The telescope that belonged to her grandfather continues to serve her faithfully, its brass fittings now even more green with age, its wooden tripod worn smooth by countless hours of use. Luna takes excellent care of the instrument, knowing that it is not just a tool but a connection to her grandfather's memory, and to the long tradition of amateur astronomers who have spent their lives studying the stars. As the years pass, Luna's knowledge of the night sky deepens and expands. She learns the names and properties of hundreds of stars, the mythologies associated with dozens of constellations, and the scientific understanding of how stars are born, live their lives, and die. But more important than any specific knowledge is the sense of wonder and connection that her observations provide. Every night that Luna spends among the stars reinforces her understanding that she is part of something magnificent and eternal. The universe is vast beyond human comprehension, filled with billions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars, many of which probably have planets orbiting around them. Yet somehow, in this vast cosmos, conditions came together in just the right way to allow life to develop on Earth, and eventually to produce beings capable of consciousness and wonder and the ability to contemplate their place in the universe. Luna finds this thought neither frightening nor overwhelming, but deeply comforting. She is not alone in the universe. She is connected to everything around her, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy. The same physical laws that govern the motion of the stars also govern the beating of her heart. The same elements that make up distant suns also make up her body and her thoughts and her dreams. As Luna continues her nightly observations, year after year, she develops an almost mystical sense of connection to the cosmos. She begins to feel that the stars are not just distant suns, but old friends who greet her each night with their familiar light. She learns to recognize the subtle changes in their positions as the Earth orbits around the sun, the slow precession of the equinoxes that gradually shifts the entire sky over periods of thousands of years, and the even slower proper motion of individual stars as they follow their own paths through the galaxy. This deep connection to the stars provides Luna with a profound sense of peace and stability. No matter what challenges or difficulties she may face in her daily life, she knows that the stars will be there each night, shining with the same light that has inspired human beings for countless generations. They provide her with a sense of continuity that stretches from the ancient past into the infinite future. Luna's nightly ritual becomes more than just a hobby or a form of relaxation. It becomes a form of meditation, a way of connecting with something larger than herself and finding meaning and purpose in her existence. The stars teach her patience, as she learns to wait for the best viewing conditions and to observe subtle changes that occur over long periods of time. They teach her humility, as she contemplates the vast scales of space and time that dwarf human concerns. And they teach her wonder, as she discovers new objects and phenomena that remind her of the endless capacity of the universe to surprise and amaze. As Luna grows older, she begins to think about passing on her knowledge and her passion for astronomy to others. She starts keeping more detailed records of her observations, hoping that someday they might be useful to other amateur astronomers. She also begins to invite young people from the village to join her for special observing sessions, particularly during meteor showers or when bright comets are visible. Luna finds great joy in sharing her love of the stars with others, especially children who are seeing the wonders of the night sky for the first time. She remembers her own first glimpse through her grandfather's telescope, and she tries to provide the same sense of wonder and discovery for each new observer who joins her on the roof. "Look through the telescope," she tells them in the same gentle voice her grandfather once used with her. "Do you see those stars there? They've been shining for millions of years, and their light has traveled across space just to reach your eyes at this exact moment." The children are always amazed by this thought, just as Luna was amazed when she first heard it. They ask endless questions about the stars and the planets and the vastness of space, and Luna patiently answers each question, remembering how her grandfather never seemed to tire of explaining the wonders of the universe to her curious young mind. Through these teaching experiences, Luna discovers that sharing her knowledge and enthusiasm actually deepens her own connection to the stars. Each time she explains a constellation or describes the life cycle of a star, she gains a new appreciation for the complexity and beauty of the universe. The act of teaching forces her to organize her thoughts and to see familiar objects and concepts from new perspectives. As Luna continues her nightly observations and her teaching, she begins to understand that astronomy is not just about looking at distant objects in space. It's about understanding our place in the universe, about connecting with something larger than our individual concerns, and about maintaining a sense of wonder and curiosity that keeps life interesting and meaningful. The stars that Luna observes each night are the same stars that were observed by ancient Egyptians, Greeks, Chinese, and Native Americans. They are the same stars that guided explorers across unknown oceans, that inspired poets and philosophers to contemplate the nature of existence, and that continue to challenge scientists to push the boundaries of human knowledge. When Luna looks through her telescope at the constellation Orion, she sees not just a pattern of bright stars, but a connection to all the human beings throughout history who have looked up at those same stars and felt the same sense of awe and wonder. She is part of an unbroken chain of stargazers that stretches back to the very beginning of human civilization and will continue far into the future. This sense of connection to past and future generations fills Luna with a profound sense of purpose and meaning. Her nightly observations are not just a personal hobby, but a continuation of humanity's oldest scientific tradition, the systematic observation and study of the heavens. Every note she makes in her grandfather's journal, every constellation she learns, every young person she introduces to the wonders of the night sky, contributes to this ancient and ongoing human endeavor. As the years continue to pass, Luna's hair begins to show traces of silver, and fine lines appear at the corners of her eyes from all the nights spent squinting through the telescope eyepiece. But her enthusiasm for stargazing never diminishes. If anything, it grows stronger with each passing year, as she discovers new layers of beauty and meaning in the familiar patterns of the stars. Luna begins to notice subtle changes in her own perception as she ages. Her night vision becomes even more acute, sharpened by years of practice and patient observation. She can now detect stars so faint that other people cannot see them at all. Her knowledge of the sky becomes so complete that she can identify any constellation or bright star within seconds of stepping outside, regardless of the time of night or season. But more importantly, Luna develops what astronomers call the astronomer's eye, an intuitive understanding of the three-dimensional structure of space that allows her to visualize the true relationships between celestial objects. When she looks at the stars of the Big Dipper, for example, she no longer sees just a flat pattern in the sky, but a complex arrangement of stars at vastly different distances, only appearing to form a dipper shape from Earth's particular viewpoint. This deeper understanding brings with it an even greater sense of wonder and connection. Luna begins to feel as if she is not just observing the universe from the outside, but participating in its cosmic dance. She becomes aware of the motion of the Earth beneath her feet as it rotates on its axis and orbits around the Sun. She can sense the solar system's movement through the galaxy, and the galaxy's own slow rotation as it carries billions of stars along with it through space. During particularly clear and dark nights, when the Milky Way stands out with exceptional brilliance, Luna sometimes experiences moments of cosmic consciousness that border on the mystical. She feels as if the boundaries between herself and the universe dissolve, and she becomes one with the starlight that surrounds her. These experiences last only a few seconds, but they leave her with a profound sense of peace and understanding that lasts for days. Luna's nightly ritual evolves and deepens as she grows older. She develops new techniques for observation and meditation, combining her scientific knowledge with a more intuitive, spiritual approach to stargazing. She learns to use different breathing patterns to enhance her night vision and to calm her mind. She discovers that certain positions and movements help her feel more connected to the cosmic energies that surround her. The rocking chair on her roof becomes worn and smooth from years of use, shaped by Luna's body and movements into the perfect instrument for peaceful observation. The wooden planks of the roof develop a gentle patina from exposure to the mountain weather, and the brass fittings of the telescope acquire an even richer green color with age. Everything on Luna's rooftop observatory bears the marks of time and use, creating an environment that feels sacred and timeless. As Luna enters her 30s, she begins to think more seriously about the legacy she wants to leave behind. She continues to add detailed observations to her grandfather's journal, which has now grown into multiple volumes filled with drawings, measurements, and philosophical reflections on the nature of the universe. She also begins to write longer essays about her experiences as a stargazer, hoping to capture not just the scientific aspects of astronomy, but the emotional and spiritual dimensions as well. One evening, as Luna settles into her familiar routine of tea preparation and telescope adjustment, she notices something unusual in the sky. A new star has appeared in the constellation Cassiopeia, not a dramatic supernova, but a nova, a more subtle stellar explosion that gradually brightens over several days. Luna watches this cosmic event unfold night after night, documenting its slow brightening and eventual fading in careful detail. The appearance of the nova fills Luna with excitement and wonder. She is witnessing a rare cosmic event, something that happens only once every few years in our galaxy. The nova represents the explosive end of one phase of a star's life and the beginning of another, a dramatic reminder of the constant change and evolution that characterizes the universe. Luna shares her discovery with other amateur astronomers through letters and phone calls, contributing her observations to the global network of sky watchers who monitor such events. She feels a deep satisfaction in knowing that her careful observations will become part of the permanent scientific record, helping professional astronomers understand the nature and behavior of novae. The nova experience reinforces Luna's understanding that astronomy is not just about observing static objects in the sky, but about witnessing the dynamic, ever-changing nature of the universe. Stars are born, live their lives, and die in spectacular explosions. Planets orbit their parent stars in complex gravitational dances. Galaxies collide and merge over billions of years. Everything in the cosmos is in constant motion and constant change. Yet paradoxically, this understanding of cosmic change and impermanence brings Luna an even deeper sense of peace and stability. She begins to see that change itself is the one constant in the universe, and that accepting this reality is the key to finding meaning and purpose in life. The stars teach her that everything is temporary, but also that everything is connected, and that even when individual objects disappear, their matter and energy continue to exist in new forms. As Luna continues her nightly observations through her 30s and into her 40s, she notices that her relationship with the stars becomes increasingly intimate and personal. She no longer thinks of them as distant objects to be studied, but as companions and teachers who guide her through the complexities of life. Each constellation has its own personality and its own lessons to offer. Orion, with its bright stars and distinctive shape, teaches Luna about strength and courage. The constellation is visible during the winter months, when the nights are longest and coldest, and its presence in the sky provides comfort during the most challenging time of year. Luna learns to see Orion as a celestial guardian, watching over her and her village during the dark months. Cygnus, the swan, teaches Luna about grace and beauty. The constellation's elegant shape, stretched across the summer sky like a great bird in flight, reminds her that even in the vast, seemingly hostile environment of space, there is room for beauty and artistry. Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, Cassiopeia, and the others are always available for observation, providing a sense of continuity and stability that helps anchor Luna's understanding of her place in the cosmos. Each season brings its own set of constellation teachers. Spring brings Leo and Virgo, reminding Luna of renewal and growth. Summer brings Scorpius and Sagittarius, pointing toward the center of the galaxy and inviting contemplation of the vast scales of cosmic structure. Autumn brings Pegasus and Andromeda, with its famous galaxy that provides a glimpse of the island universes beyond our own Milky Way. As Luna's hair becomes more silver and her face shows more lines of age and experience, she begins to think about training a successor to carry on her grandfather's tradition of astronomical observation. She has taught many young people from the village the basics of stargazing, but none has shown the deep passion and commitment that would be necessary to maintain the nightly ritual of observation and contemplation. Then, one autumn evening, Luna meets a young girl named Stella who reminds her powerfully of herself at the same age. Stella is 8 years old, with dark hair and curious eyes, and she has recently moved to the village with her grandmother. The girl shows up at Luna's door one evening, having heard from other children about the Star Lady, who lives in the house with the telescope on the roof. "Can you really see other worlds through your telescope?" Stella asks with the directness that only children possess. Luna smiles, remembering asking her grandfather similar questions many years ago. "Would you like to find out?" she replies. That night, Luna takes Stella up to the roof for her first serious look at the stars. The girl's reaction is everything Luna hoped for: gasps of wonder at the sight of Saturn's rings, excited questions about the colors of double stars, and a deep, awed silence when Luna shows her the Andromeda galaxy through the telescope. "How far away is it?" Stella whispers, her eye still pressed to the eyepiece. 2.5 million light-years, Luna answers. "The light you're seeing left that galaxy before humans existed on Earth." Stella pulls back from the telescope and looks up at Luna with wide eyes. "You mean I'm looking into the past?" "Exactly," Luna says. "Every time you look at the stars, you're looking backward in time. The universe is like a giant history book written in light." From that night forward, Stella becomes Luna's most dedicated student. The girl appears at Luna's house every clear evening, eager to learn more about the stars and to help with the observations. Luna teaches her the names of the constellations, the stories behind them, and the scientific facts about stellar evolution and galactic structure. But more importantly, Luna teaches Stella the meditative, spiritual aspects of stargazing, how to quiet the mind and open the heart to the wonder of the cosmos, how to find peace and meaning in the vast scales of space and time, and how to maintain a sense of connection to something larger than oneself. As months pass, Luna watches Stella develop the same deep passion for astronomy that has sustained her own life for so many years. The girl shows a natural talent for observation, quickly learning to navigate the sky and to spot faint objects that many adults would miss. More importantly, she shows the patience and reverence that are essential for truly meaningful astronomical observation. On Stella's 9th birthday, Luna makes a decision that feels both momentous and completely natural. She presents the girl with her own small telescope, not as elaborate as her grandfather's instrument, but perfectly adequate for learning the fundamentals of observation. Stella's joy and gratitude are overwhelming, and Luna feels a deep satisfaction in knowing that she is passing on not just a piece of equipment, but a tradition and a way of life. As Luna enters her 50s, she begins to feel the subtle effects of aging on her nighttime observations. Her eyes don't adjust to darkness quite as quickly as they once did, and she needs to be more careful moving around the roof in the dark. But these minor limitations are more than compensated for by the depth of her knowledge and experience, and by the joy she feels in sharing her passion with Stella. Luna and Stella develop a routine of observing together several nights each week, with Stella using her own telescope while Luna continues to use her grandfather's larger instrument. They compare observations, discuss what they see, and explore the scientific and philosophical implications of their discoveries together. These shared observing sessions become some of the most meaningful experiences of Luna's life. She finds that teaching Stella helps her see familiar objects with fresh eyes, and that the girl's questions often lead to insights and understandings that Luna might never have reached on her own. One particularly memorable night occurs during the peak of the Perseid meteor shower, when the Earth passes through the debris trail left by Comet Swift-Tuttle. Luna and Stella lie on their backs on the roof, watching meteors streak across the sky at the rate of one every minute or two. Each meteor lasts only a second or two, but in that brief moment it traces a brilliant line of light across the darkness, connecting one part of the sky to another. Where do they come from? Stella asks as a particularly bright meteor flashes overhead. They're tiny pieces of a comet, Luna explains. Thousands of years ago, a comet passed close to the sun and left a trail of dust and small rocks in its orbit. Every year, the Earth passes through that trail, and the particles burn up in our atmosphere, creating the light show we're watching. So we're seeing pieces of a comet that died long ago? Not died, Luna corrects gently. Transformed. The comet is still out there, orbiting the sun, but it's left parts of itself scattered along its path. Those parts are giving us this beautiful display tonight. As they continue to watch the meteors, Luna reflects on the metaphor inherent in Stella's question and her own response. Nothing in the universe ever truly dies, it only changes form. The atoms in her body were forged in ancient supernovae. The energy that powers her thoughts comes from fusion reactions in the sun, and someday, billions of years in the future, the matter that makes up her physical form will be recycled into new stars and planets and perhaps new forms of life. This understanding brings Luna a profound sense of peace about her own mortality and the eventual end of her observing career. She knows that her knowledge and passion will live on through Stella, and through the other young people she has taught over the years. The tradition of astronomical observation that her grandfather passed to her will continue long after she herself has become one with the cosmos. As the meteor shower reaches its peak, with meteors appearing so frequently that Luna and Stella can barely keep count, both observers fall into a state of meditative wonder. They stop trying to analyze or explain what they're seeing and simply allow themselves to be present with the cosmic display unfolding above them. In these moments of pure observation and wonder, Luna feels the same sense of cosmic consciousness that has visited her periodically throughout her observing career. The boundaries between herself and the universe seem to dissolve, and she experiences a direct, immediate connection to the vast web of matter and energy that connects all things. Stella seems to sense something of this cosmic awareness as well. The girl becomes very quiet and still, her breathing slow and deep, her face turned upward toward the star-filled sky. Luna recognizes in Stella's expression the same look of wonder and transcendence that she remembers feeling during her own first serious encounters with the night sky. As the meteor shower gradually diminishes and the night grows late, Luna and Stella pack up their equipment and prepare to return to the house. But before they go inside, Luna takes one last look around at the familiar landscape of her rooftop observatory, the worn rocking chair, the brass telescope with its green patina, the small table with its collection of observing tools and reference books. Everything looks exactly as it has for the past 25 years, yet everything has changed. Luna is no longer the young woman who first climbed these stairs to continue her grandfather's work. She has aged, gained wisdom and experience, and now she is passing that wisdom on to a new generation. The observatory remains the same, but the cycle of learning and teaching and discovery continues. As Luna and Stella carefully make their way down the wooden stairs, Luna feels a deep sense of gratitude for the path her life has taken. The decision to move to her grandfather's house and to continue his astronomical observations has brought her a lifetime of wonder, meaning, and connection to something larger than herself. More than that, it has taught her that the universe is not a cold, hostile place where humans are insignificant specks in a vast emptiness, but a magnificent, interconnected whole in which every particle of matter and every spark of consciousness plays an important role. The stars have taught her that she belongs here, that her observations and her wonder and her love are part of the cosmic story that has been unfolding for billions of years. As Luna prepares for bed that night, she takes one final look out her bedroom window at the stars that are still visible in the pre-dawn sky. Venus, the morning star, is rising in the east, its brilliant light heralding the approach of sunrise. Soon the sky will brighten and the stars will fade from view, but Luna knows they will return tomorrow night, ready to share their ancient light with anyone who takes the time to look up and wonder. Luna settles into her bed with the same sense of peace and contentment that has ended every clear night for the past 25 years. Her dreams will be filled with images of starlight and meteor trails, of telescopes and constellation patterns, of the vast Milky Way stretching across an infinite sky. She will sleep the deep, restful sleep of someone who has found her place in the universe and has shared that gift with others. And tomorrow night, when the sun sets behind the western mountains and the first stars begin to appear in the darkening sky, Luna and Stella will once again climb the wooden stairs to the roof, ready to continue the ancient human tradition of looking up at the stars and finding in their light a source of wonder, wisdom, and peace that connects them to the deepest mysteries of existence. The stars will be waiting for them, as they have waited for countless generations of stargazers before them, and as they will wait for countless generations yet to come. In their eternal dance across the night sky, the stars offer a promise of continuity and meaning that transcends the brief span of individual human lives, connecting each of us to the vast, magnificent story of the cosmos itself. And so our story ends where it began, with the peaceful ritual of astronomical observation, with the gentle rhythm of preparation and contemplation, with the quiet joy of discovering beauty and meaning in the night sky. Luna continues her nightly observations, now sharing them with Stella, both of them part of an unbroken chain of wonder that stretches from the ancient past into the infinite future. The stars shine on, constant and eternal, offering their gift of light and wonder to anyone who chooses to receive it. In their gentle radiance, we find not just scientific knowledge about the nature of the universe, but spiritual wisdom about our place within it, and the deep peace that comes from knowing that we are not alone, but part of something magnificent and eternal. Sweet dreams, dear listeners, and may your own sleep be filled with the gentle light of stars and the peaceful rhythm of the cosmic dance that connects us all.